Hey you guys, what's up? My name is Taquisha. We are in the garden. Lots has happened already today. I want to show you what we planted and what I am planning on planting right now. Like right now is the time to be planting all the things. Today has been absolutely gorgeous. It's been so amazing from the beginning of the day. It was so cool and enjoyable out here this morning. I came out and planted Brussels sprouts and I planted some more peas, and I'm just so excited about fall being on the horizon and all the things. I'm really excited about it. And so let me show you what it is that I've done just this morning and what I'm planning to do right now. It's so crazy because in this file cabinet planter, these peas have already sprouted, and I am so amazed by that because it's only been several days. It hasn't even been a week and they've already sprouted. They are so excited to grow and to come alive and produce a harvest. So happy about that. Okay, along with beets and peas that I've planted in the garden, both red and orange beets. I've also planted, just this morning, planted some Brussels sprouts in this bed. So I'm going to separate this bed into different sections. I'm going to also plant radish in this bed as well as lettuce. I'm thinking we're going to plant lettuce right down the middle. We can cut and come again on this bed, so that just means that we'll be able to cut what we need and it'll keep growing. And so I'm thinking I'm going to do lettuce in the middle and do radishes on the outside. Do still have several bell peppers that are growing nicely and looking like they're going to produce nice healthy bell peppers. So still have some snack peppers growing. Lots of basil going to seed, which is so good. It smells amazing. Every time we walk past here, it just smells so good. And of course, these beautiful zinnias, they are a showstopper. They just keep going. So beautiful. There's about 10 or 12 bell pepper plants in this one little area, and I'm just going to keep letting them go because they are growing nicely and the weather is cooling. So I think that we can get a good bit still from these peppers. The last video I showed you guys that I did a cover crop on this left side right here. I did red clover, and on the right side I did some field peas to just impart that nitrogen into the ground, and we're going to use those as a green manure. And so that just means that it starts to grow, and instead of allowing it to come to a flower, you cut it down. You cut it down and then you turn it into the ground, and it brings nutrients to the ground at that point. And so earlier I accidentally knocked this off. That's why this little bell pepper is here, but it won't go to waste. We will eat this bell pepper. You are not too small to be eaten. We still have a handful of banana peppers that are growing that we need to harvest. I have to remember those are in my pocket later. Let me tell you, these peppers are right on time because we are out of our refrigerator pickled peppers that are so fantastic, like so fantastic. I am so happy that we have more peppers. I can go right in and make it because I've been craving it, and we've only have like a small scoop left, and so perfect timing. When I get back into the greenhouse, I'm gonna have to unload my pocket so we can truly see how many peppers I just picked out of that small, very small area. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. what we got. Looks like the perfect amount to make a jar of the best and most perfect refrigerator sweet and spicy pickled peppers. I'm wondering how fantastic it would be for me to put a couple of sprigs of the basil inside the sweet and spicy pickled peppers. Like, I'm gonna try that this time and see how incredible it is, because we have so much basil still left. Matter of fact, speaking of basil, this basil is drying so nicely out here in the greenhouse. I'm so happy about it. It's going so well. This is the purple basil, but it's all drying really, really, really nicely. The catnip is also drying really nicely. This didn't dry as quickly as the batch I did before, the stevia. And I think it's because the temperature dropped. Honestly, the temperature dropped to like the 80s. So instead of the 90s, mid and high 90s, it dropped to the 80s. And so it wasn't as hot in here. So it did take some days longer, but still, it's still really perfect. And so this is the catnip. Have to show you guys, this is the first baby carrot sprout. Look at that. I just put these in there yesterday and we have a carrot sprout. So if you didn't see that video, I planted all of these egg cartons with carrot seeds, and I recorded a video, 3 different methods to plant carrots. One of those methods were in this egg carton. Another method was some sprouted carrot seeds. Oh, there's another one. Oh my goodness, that is so crazy and exciting and good. That is another one. Okay, so another one was some sprouted carrot seeds. And then the final one was the gel. I made a gel, so it's a seed gel, and that was really cool. And I did that out in the garden, but I left these ones in the greenhouse because I know that humidity is on point in here, and I know that carrot seeds like to be moist, and so I am leaving them in the greenhouse until I see some growth on these carrots, and then I'm going to take them outside. In this little container are the rest of the seeds that I did not plant. And it is crazy how much they have grown in one day in the greenhouse. Because before I planted them yesterday, they were in the house. I was sprouting, oh, there's a bug. I was sprouting them in the house. And so I am just so blown away by how much they've grown. And so right now they are at 7 days. They germinated in 7 days. That's really incredible. I'm going to go ahead and give this a soak so that they don't get ruined. But I really need to plant them. Look at that one. Crazy, right? But for right this minute, I am going to be looking at some different lettuces that I want to plant. I am going through the seeds and seeing what type of kale I have. This one is a dwarf blue curled kale, and this one is a red Russian kale, which are 2 different types of varieties that I've never tasted. And so I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about this dwarf kale because the maturity is 21 to 55 days. And so that is really, really exciting to get kale so fast. This one is also 21 to 50 days. And so I'm going to be planting those. My favorite fall crops last year was choy. I had never eaten choy, but this bok choy was so amazing. It was so good. It was so, I don't even know how to really explain it, but it tastes better than anything. It didn't taste like what it tastes like from the store. It was just very, very flavorful. And so I want to get this bok choy planted and growing. So all of these seed packets that are Korean, I'm assuming it's Korean because the lady who sent it to us is in Korea, and I just thought it was the coolest thing and so sweet of her to send us so many seed packets. My kids thought it was absolutely amazing to be able to see these things written completely in another language. And no, we cannot read it, but we can, take a good guess at what it is. And then there is something called Google Lens. And so all we have to do is just Google Lens it. It's just so very, very cool. And we just appreciate wonderful gifts that you guys send us. It's like you don't have to, but you do. And we appreciate it so much. And I don't always comment on the gifts that we receive, but we receive so many sweet gifts. And sometimes it's something that, like this that somebody had to purchase, or like the grow bags, or even a whole irrigation system. Like all of those things that just take money in order to do it. But there's also people who send us sweet little notes and little cards that we get to see. And I appreciate all of that. I just think it's just the sweetest thing to be thought of. And so I just want to thank you all for just loving us and supporting us and encouraging us in our journey. So I just wanted to show you guys how cool Google Lens was. They just straight up, look at that. You just hover over it and it tells you exactly like what it's saying. Isn't that just the coolest thing? I mean, how cool is that? Right there. That is just so cool. And now I'm going to see about changing it from this language and just hover over it with our Google Lens. And let's see if it can't translate. Y'all, that is just the coolest thing. Very cool. Well, a couple other really cool ones other than the red lettuce and the blue lettuce seed I want to plant is the red mustard seed, as well as the chicory seed. I've never had chicory, but it sounds really cool. Another really cool one is this sesame leaf seed. Like what? Sesame seeds? Like that's cool. So I have spread out all of those lettuces that I just showed you guys. I spread them out all in this one bed and I figured it out. It won't make sense until it all starts growing and we all see how beautiful it is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a row and then a smaller section in between the Brussels sprouts, and then a row, smaller section, a whole row, a smaller section, which I'm going to figure out what I want to put there, and then a whole row. And then right in front of the Brussels sprouts, I'm going to plant these watermelon radishes. These just look so cool. I have no idea what they taste like, but I love the way they look. And so I'm going to plant those in each section right in front of the Brussels. There's so much to admire about the garden. so many beautiful things that we get to come out every single day and admire, regardless if it's the beginning of the season and it's exciting and we're like, whoa, all the things are growing, or it's the end of the season and things are producing seeds and we're like, whoa, that's so incredible. I'm just amazed at how incredible how incredible the garden is looking. These grapevines, I think next year are going to give us some really incredible grapes. The vines have just expanded like crazy this year. They're just like everywhere, which is great. Like, that's really great. I just bent some in because they're so long and they're so beautiful. And so we've been growing these grapevines since last year. It started off as a baby. We did not get any grapes this year, but I am really believing that next year we are going to see so many grapes from this grapevine. And what we have growing on our arch trellis right here, this is Carolina jasmine. It is native and it is happy and it grows so well and it's thick, and it took a year for it to completely cover our whole archway. So it is thick in here and it's covered so nicely. It's actually such a great relief when it's hot out here and you're in the garden working. It's so perfect to come under and get some shade. If you are desiring a very whimsical archway, I would definitely encourage you to look at what's native in your area to see what vines grow there, because this vine started off as a baby last year and it is so thick and healthy and doing really well. And so if you like something like that, definitely look at what's native, because that's always what's going to grow the very best in your area. Although the garden is thinned out because we have seeds that are in the ground and we can't see yet, it's just so peaceful. Like, I love the beginning. I love the start of something new. And so this all brings my heart so much joy to see it in this stage, because I know that sooner than later it's all going to be filled with so many incredible vegetables for our family, and we're going to enjoy watching them all grow, and it's going to be so fascinating. I just love how the garden is transforming into something that it was different, something different than it was last year. It's also new, and I'm just loving it, and I just am so thankful and appreciative of everything that we have. Even though it's the end of the season, there are still some things that are just given its all, showing all of its glory and all of its beauty, and I just appreciate that so much. I think having a garden just makes it so evident all the time, all the things that we should be thankful for and blessed by. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be a gardener. I'm grateful. So if you are thinking about gardening, I would say one thing: just do it. All these are wonderful basil seeds. As you can see, that little black dot right there, that is basil seeds, and I am collecting those. Oh my goodness, it is so fresh. This is lemon basil and it's amazing. Just gonna set those there to dry. I have actually a whole container of basil that is dried, and if I just rub it between my fingers like this, the little seed comes out. That is a basil seed right there, y'all. That little speck wants to create a whole basil plant with hundreds of basil seeds. It's so beautiful and it's so amazing. So I received our soil results back from our local extension, and I had some really, I feel like, authentic and genuine questions about why I would even get our soil tested. I mean, our garden has been growing so beautifully, and everything is going really well. And so I just wanted to address that, just because I think that it has come from such a authentic place. I don't think it's come from a place of just trying to be spiteful or mean or whatever the case. And so I do want to talk about it because maybe other people wondered as well, like, why would you get your soil tested? So I would say right now, as far as like in our journey, um, and many of you may not know, but this is only our second year gardening. So last spring was our first year, this spring was our second year. And so this will be our second fall garden, which is so cool. But the thing about it is that right now in our journey, as we are learning about all the things all at once, and we've just started a compost pile, which is going to provide us with our own means of nourishing our ground and our soil. But up until this point, we've only used bag soil. And so the thing about it is, we don't know what was in that bag soil. I've had friends and I've known of people who have, got compost, and so did I last year. Got some compost from where you get like bulk compost from, and it wasn't good. Things didn't grow in there. There's some people who, their soil was contaminated by getting big loads dropped off to their house, and so it was tainted. The soil was tainted. And so that is a part of it. We go out and we buy bagged soil from the store, and we don't know what they're doing. All we can do is have a prayer and a hope that everything is going to be just fine. And so, but while we're in the season of depending upon other people and companies to provide us with our soil needs, we really don't have a lot of control over what's in it. And so it may say fertilizer, it may say whatever will feed your soil, will feed your vegetables for 3 months, but we don't really know if that's true. Like, I'm sure they try to find every single loophole that they could find, to, make the most money and spend the least. And with that being said, for us, testing that soil is going to benefit us. We have soil that we bought last year that's still in our beds. And so testing your soil just tells you a few things, and I want to share those results with you. But it tells you about your pH, which is really important. For some things, they like acidic soil. For others, they like it more neutral. And so you really need to know what your plants like in order to have a healthy garden. So good to know the needs of your vegetables so that you can become a better gardener. Now that we know the results of our soil, I can go through each bed and I can amend the beds properly. Our plants have specific needs. For example, I just planted carrots, and so I was doing a lot of research about what carrots need. Carrots need a low amount of nitrogen. It's so interesting because beets, which is also another root vegetable, it can tolerate a higher amount of nitrogen than carrots can. So if I plant those two vegetables in the same bed, they have two different needs. And that's what helped me determine if I was going to plant beets with carrots. I assumed that they had the same needs, but they actually don't. Understanding the needs of the plant is going to help us all become better gardeners. I don't have a test at home to test our soil, but that is something that you can purchase. I think now would probably be a good time to get a soil tester, right, to compare the results. But yeah, so I just really wanted to talk about that because I feel like that's such a great conversation. And don't ever feel like you can't bring something up, because I'm not easily offended. And so bring it up. Let's talk about it, because we're all learning and growing. And, we all feel like there's certain people that we can't trust, in this lifestyle. And that's why we are on our own journeys of finding out what is freedom, what does our freedom look like, and learning about gardening is a part of our freedom song. It's a part of our freedom journey. And in the last year, I've learned so much that's so helpful to me, that's going to benefit my family. And the more I can learn and grow, the more I'm going to benefit my family. And so I just hope that you understand that I think through everything. And that is one of the things that I found to be very important to know, because I also don't want to waste money fertilizing our ground with something that it doesn't need. And so these results was like mind blowing. It was huge, like the huge difference between our ground soil and our soil from our garden beds. So I don't want to bore you with an overload of just information. I just simply want you to see what I see as far as the simplicity of understanding your results and what it means for your own garden. This was very clear. All I had to do was click the number associated with my soil sample. One was A and one was B. When I clicked it, it gave a very detailed list of what the soil had inside of it, and it also gave suggestions on how to better the soil. See how helpful that is? So I really hope that clears up my decision for getting the soil tested. Is all for me for today. I am going to go in. I have dinner pretty much ready. I'm ready to be with my family and hang out with them. And so that's what we're going to do. So thank you guys so much for joining me today, and every single time you guys join me. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you guys next time.